Welcome to the Small Business is Big Business podcast. Welcome to this family. We want to invite you in because small business has a chance to bring this country together. Why? Because you're the backbone of America's economy. You're responsible for almost half of America's workforce. So today we're coming to you live from Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans. I mean, this backdrop is real. That is the Vince Lombardi trophy right there. And I'm with two exceptional guests that I can't wait to introduce, but we're live in New Orleans at Super Bowl 59, and this is a dream come true. My name is Mark Madrid, America's Energizer and small business champion. I've had the honor and obligation to support millions of small businesses on the ground. So it was my turn to give back, to share, to be vulnerable, to be real. And this podcast, which will be with you once a month, is not about theory and philosophy or that inaccessible North Star or that vision that can never become reality, or so it seems. This is about what is happening right now. What is that solution that's going to help me with my business? That dream that I have from becoming my own employee, me, myself, and I. Did I get an amen on that? That want to have more than one employee, that business that wants to scale. It's about diversifying your revenue. It's about eligibility. What do I qualify for? It's about how do I adopt AI? Make it practical. Make it make sense to me. How about cybersecurity? Because evil is brilliant. We got to meet them where they are. And how about cost containment, reducing your cost and innovation and building trust and outsourcing? It's a lot, but we're here every step of the way. You know, Damon John said something prolific about building brands. To be a successful brand, you've got to serve, you got to surprise, and you got to share. Mark Cuban said, the best equity is sweat equity. So if you've got sweat equity, if you've bootstraps like I have, like these two have, then you're in the right place. So let's get started. And I'll start with these amazing guests. Even here where we are, the historic New Orleans collection is a story in of its own. But I'd like to introduce Mayra Pineda. She's the CEO of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Louisiana. Welcome to Small Business is Big Business.
Thank you, Mark, and congratulations. We need something like this, something to lift all of those small business owners that are working day to day to thrive and to grow. And we are so privileged to be in this space today, the Historic New Orleans Collection, with a beautiful backdrop. Thank you for being in New Orleans. Welcome. And you know this is your home.
Thank you. I feel that, and I have a history with this city. And so we wanted to deliver real insights from New Orleans, the complexity of the city, the beauty of this city here at the Historic New Orleans Collection. In fact, Good Morning America is going to be here in a couple of days. So I just feel like I'm living a dream right now. Teresa Lawrence. Oh my goodness. So excited to have you as a small business owner yourself of Delta Personnel. Please. Welcome to Small Business is Big Business.
Well, you have blessed me with the opportunity to sit here with you this morning, and I cannot thank you enough for that. Welcome to my city. Welcome to the pride that we like to share with the whole world. But we get the opportunity this time with the 59th Super Bowl coming to New Orleans. This is just incredible. And on top of that, you here, Mark Madrid, you have done so much for small businesses. In any position that you've been, you have always lifted, and we have risen. So thank you for inviting us today.
Both your words touch my heart. And I'm from a small business. I have small business DNA. I say I'm always grounded in these boots. I have some cowboy boots on that I wear with my suits and jeans and everything else. It's because it reminds me of where I'm from. I may have white collar experience, but I have blue collar DNA. In that spirit, let's talk about why we're here in the first place. It's not about just being in front of the Vince Lombardi trophy. It's about small businesses working with the NFL and the Super Bowl. It is possible. And we want you to feel right now that it might be possible for you, whether it's the NFL, whether it's corporate America, whether it's governmental entities, whether it's the sports authority, the metro, the independent school district, the county. It's a lot. But I want to say, let's step back a little bit and let's call it what it is, an opportunity to diversify revenue. Because I think sometimes we get in the weeds and it becomes confusing and overwhelming. When it comes to procurement, which is getting contracts with institutions or entities like the NFL, like the Super Bowl, you have to go through a process. I call it eligibility to do business.
Exactly.
So let's start, Mayra. I mean, we have built a relationship over the course of 12 plus years, and I'd like to say trust is earned. And that's what we have. We have a deep trust. You pick up the phone if I call at 5 a.m. or at midnight, and it's all because of the passion that we have for small businesses. Can you explain being on 2 host committees, serving on the board here at the historic, where we are right here in this beautiful building? Can you share how you have advocated for small businesses to be at the table and to have opportunities? And then we're going to pivot to Teresa, who actually has an opportunity with the Super Bowl.
Yes. Well, as you know, NFL created this program, Source program, and we were privileged to be invited on this supplier diversity committee, part of the host committee for Super Bowl. Our job to educate our small business owners and to let them know about this opportunity, because there was a process, like you said, businesses needed to be certified, businesses needed to have all of their capability reports, everything, strategic plans in place, making sure everything, all of the list was checked. But it was an educational process as well. Even for those businesses that were not able to access contracts, it prepared them for the future. It made them network among themselves. And like NFL, many times said during the different programs that they conducted, it really connected them to NFL, maybe for a future city, a future Super Bowl. So that's very similar to what we do as a chamber, prepare our small business owners for the opportunities, making sure they understand what it takes to get from point A to point B. Because many of them, as you said, think that's not for me. Oh, I'll never be able to get a contract with the NFL. And you'd be surprised how many of those small businesses are able, and we have them here. Just Sunday, we celebrated a big closing of the program with hundreds of business owners that were able to access contracts.
I love that. So there's a lot of pearls of wisdom there. If you need help, ask. We talked about that just a little while ago. Know where to go, where the information is credible, it's sourced, it's truth serum. You're going to be able to come back there in terms of, are all my documents, are they all correct? Am I ready to submit?
Exactly.
What is the next step? There is also some skin in the game.
Absolutely.
And there was also what I heard from you that resonated, that I've seen on the ground in all 50 states when I served as a head official for the United States Small Business Administration. In 40 months, I traveled 37 states. And there was something magical that happened. The revelation that some businesses had, it might not happen this time,
Right.
where I put a lot of work into it, but some of them had a transformation in thought that this is going to help me for something down the road.
Absolutely.
And that was groundbreaking. And speaking of that, skin in the game, all those things you said, Teresa, let's talk. You actually have an opportunity with this Super Bowl 59. Can you explain more about it?
And it's showing up. It's making sure that you're accessible to these opportunities. The network always is a trying piece for small businesses. Should I go? What do I say? Who am I going to meet there? How do I approach the conversation? But at the end of the game, you just need to just show up.
That's the
You
most
just show
important
up.
part,
That's
right?
it. That's the most important part. Just be part of that community that wants to grow businesses. Because the Hispanic Chamber is interested in growing businesses. If they're doing their job to put you in front of people, then you need to show up to make sure those connections take place. The procurement process is an educational process. You learn a lot from it. Sometimes we don't consider ourselves good enough or high enough in the scale to be able to provide even a quote. But all of those pieces that come along with that procurement allows you to learn of what you can bring to the next procurement process.
The long haul strategy.
The long haul
Exactly.
strategy. Don't short term it. I think sometimes our expectations are immediate,
Mhm.
but this is groundwork. This is a lot of walking to get to the end of the line. And it's not just It's not just, organizations such as Mayra's Hispanic Chamber they bring you to the door, but they push you through the threshold, but you have to take that and open the door. You got to grab that handle and get through it.
How did you feel when you got that email or was a phone call that says you're doing business with the Super Bowl?
Well, I'm going to tell you, he's not here on camera, but his name is Eric Fructoso. He is my general manager.
And he's back there.
And he's amazing. And what he did is, when we started with this, because we actually have about 6 opportunities. We have different things that we're doing. But when we actually got the big one, I remember he worked very hard. He's like, we want to do this. I said, let's put this in there. He goes, no, you don't need that. That's too much wording. That's too much. They don't need to know all that. We look too small, And so that vision that he had came to fruition when we actually have the contract come in, and he's like, Teresa, ya recibimos el email. So I was like, wait, because
we got the magical email.
So the magical means that you're in the bucket. Doesn't mean you have it yet.
Okay, you're in the bucket.
You're in the bucket. It's like, okay, what does that mean? Now you have to sell yourself. Now it's like you prepare what you're going to say, what they're going to ask you. You have this Zoom meetings, and you like hang up after like 10 minutes. You're like, what do you think happened? What do you think they're going to do? And so when we finally got the final, that this was a real final. I was just in shock. We were just so emotional. It was hard work at the end, but man, was it amazing to have this.
But bring me back to that moment, because I'm seeing the emotion from, it's like you're receiving that word. How was the word delivered?
It's been a long time since Super Bowl came here. And to prove yourself to people that don't know you, it's extremely hard work. It's easy when you market to people that are in your community, but then now you have an international organization that wants to change and bring community impact. It's up to us to do that. It's up to us to respond and show up. So for us, it was a way that we were not thinking at the beginning of the year that something like this would hit us. And then once you get it, the hard work begins. And Eric went out there and said, Teresa, we got to reach out to the students. We got to talk to the students. The students need to know that New Orleans has possibilities. This is a community that they can grow with. You don't just come here and get great education and go back to your town. We want them to experience what it's like to live here, to work here, and to experience a Super Bowl. So he went out there and recruited.
Well, you see the passion. I love when that fist bump to your own self, right? Thank you for bringing that emotion, because that's what we want you to feel with us. Realness. Mayra, how does it feel that you serve small businesses and to hear this and to see these opportunities being manifested after you supporting them and your team?
That's my favorite part of the job that I do, to see the results with businesses receiving contracts. But we do it at every level. And so, as you can see with a seasoned business owner like Teresa, how exciting and how transformational it can be. But it happens with smaller businesses as well, with their first time receiving a contract. And this can be translated into not only the NFL, but many of the corporations or the federal government, as you said, those opportunities. The key is prepare yourself for that opportunity. Don't oversell yourself. Don't say you can do something that you're not capable of doing, because it'll only come back to bite you. So all of these programs that we do for the micro business owner, for the startups, or for the well-established businesses help to prepare for procurement and growth.
And small business owners, so you're seeing the manifestation of a lot of overcoming, a lot of being on the ground floor. I mean, I'm the CEO and founder of my own company, Breakthrough Mavens LLC. Breakthroughs, because I want you to experience breakthroughs, whether you're an individual, small business owner, a corporation, an entity. And the Maven is a Yiddish term that is almost like a Yoda, that sometimes they call me the Yoda of small business, but I couldn't take that one, as you well know. But just being able to adapt to different environments and deliver discernment. And so let's get real with somebody out there who's struggling, because we got to meet you where you are. Let's tap into some vulnerability. I always say in vulnerability, there's strength. And we were talking, I remember when I had a credit score in my 500s, an accountant by trade, a star performer, but life got me and I didn't see a way out. I mean, to come back to be in the 800s consistently now, but I have to remember those experiences. Talk to me, both of you, we'll start with Mayra, about something in the beginning where we can relate to somebody out there that is joining us for this moment, but that is in a predicament or a set of predicaments. What is your wisdom and advice?
The wisdom and advice is help is out there. You're not alone. The resources, and we're in a country that has so many resources available to us. And may I say, most of them free or nearly free. So connect yourself to a network, like a chamber, like a certification organization, someone that can mentor you and help you. We're there to serve. Just last night, I mentioned that I went to a community event. I had someone I know, a friend of my husband's, but he approached me. He says, how are you? I said, I'm fine, great. He has a landscaping business. And he says, I just received a contract that I don't think I can handle. I need some advice from you. So that's what you do. And this is someone that, by the way, is not a member of the chamber. We're not there for, whether you're a member or not a member. We're there to help, to guide, and to connect.
And Mayra, talking about because I know you, right? We built this trust, but can you talk about that at one day, many years ago, that you were in the hotel business and now you're literally, talk about that.
I started in the airline business, actually, and many, many years ago. I won't say how many, but yes, I truly believe every single job or role, or it has helped me to get to where I am today. That's been my journey. So my hotel experience, I started in the convention services, which takes care of the groups when they come into the hotels, make sure everything goes right. And then after that, I was in public relations and in sales. And now I have to coordinate events. And so when I have to negotiate with hotels, they don't like it so much because I know all the inside scoop.
You've been there, done that.
I've been there, done that. I know what they can do. I know what they can charge, and I know what they can't do.
She knows how the sausage is made.
Exactly.
That's important.
But that's true with everything in life, and then after that, I represented my country, Honduras, when I moved here as a diplomat. And then after that, I was a business owner myself. For 25 years, I owned a Subway franchise with, multiple stores. So I had to learn about HR and I had to learn about marketing, and dealing with a franchise. It's, sometimes a little challenging. So all of that experience, puts me in the position to really understand small business owners, particularly small business owners.
You're a leader amongst leaders, and having that experience is so important. So coming back to where to go has to be credible, reliable, sustainable, current, timely, relevant. That's a lot, right? But there are organizations, people like that, and this podcast will be one of those sources for you. So can you explain a vulnerability that you had? Think about, when you were thinking about, could I diversify my business? Am I capable to go to that scale? Tell me about some of that, please.
I think so. You make a lot of mistakes. So we made a lot of mistakes in pricing because we were not really knowledgeable of that space. So pricing sometimes really becomes the largest challenge that small businesses have. Not understanding the infrastructure cost that comes with it. It's because sometimes when you go to the shoe store, I'm going to sell the shoes for $5. I bought them for $2. I'm just giving you a scenario. Then you can do that math. But the infrastructure cost, I think, is what debilitates a lot of small businesses, and they don't realize that commitment that comes with that.
That could lead to some low bidding, right?
That's exactly what happens, because you pigeonhole yourself, and then you're trying to meet the demand of that contract without understanding the cost that comes with it. Underestimating that cost is where the businesses waver. This is the downfall of many businesses. Where do you go get knowledge? It's funny. There's industries that provide tools for you to use in your business. I think that the tenacity of entrepreneurs to go out and get it and see it done didn't really start with that. It starts with, I can fix a problem that's out there that I know what I have, what I can share will impact that growth, right? So that's really where you start. And you can be making donuts, or you can be making shoes, or you can be providing good tools for them to grow their business like you're doing, like you always have been doing. You're just putting it to action now to be your business. But think about that. Everyone doesn't start a business to be a business owner. They start to fix a problem. If you lose track of why you started the business, this is going to be the end result of you cutting that off really quickly. Understand you're going to fail. You're going to rise and fall and turn and curve and make mistakes, but that's what helps you understand the process. You can see downfalls ahead of you because you've been doing it for a long time. You can calculate errors. If you can calculate your risk faster than your growth, you will do better at the end because you're going to grow consistently, not one lump at a time.
There's a lot of pearls of wisdom there. How can we close this segment with so much rich material? We're going to try to do it. And it starts with a concept. I also want to be organic with you. I'm not sure what's going to come out of my mouth, but I prayed about this, and life has prepared me not to be scripted for you. That's absolutely essential. And so what I was thinking, hearing the two of you, was a concept of, I want you, whoever's listening here, imagine a place where you want to be. Now visualize that place, because imagining that is different than visualizing it. And in closing, I want you to think of one step that you can take today toward being there. I always say a whole lot of little goes a long way, meaning sometimes when we're trying to approach a big goal, a big, hairy, audacious goal, a BHAG, we think that we have to leap. And it's a series sometimes of small steps that lead to a leap. So closing parting shots, if you will. I also have thought a lot lately. I think you're going to hear a lot about what's happened in my life. And there's a lot of drama right now with family in terms of health of my family. But what I've thought about is, people say, how do you want to be remembered? Let's shake that up on the ground. Not how do you want to be remembered? How do you want to be reflected on right now, Mayra Pineda?
For me, it's very important to understand that I live with purpose every single day. So my purpose, I live, my organization obviously is very important to me, but it's the purpose of my life to help people and to help businesses. So that purpose helps me advance our mission and gives me that passion that I need every day to continue down the path and continue growing, helping business owners, helping people any way that I can.
But it sounds like it's a core principle that you're constantly, not reminding yourself, but it's part of who you are. Like when you look in the mirror, you say, I'm purposeful.
I'm purposeful. And so I think that translates into, my team see that in me. And so, that energy goes through to them and to anybody that's around me. When I talk to my partners, our members, our investors, everyone can see how this organization has a purpose and a mission, and we're going, to make great things for the community throughout the state of Louisiana.
I love it, Mayra. And we're going to talk about winning strategies, building a culture. We talked about teamwork and really living a mission, like integrating that into every fiber of the place. How about you, Teresa? I mean, not how do you want to be remembered? How do you want to be reflected on right now?
Well, I pray for two things. I pray to have the faith of my grandmother and the strength of my mother. Two individuals that opposite, but each of them made me who I am today. My tenacity doesn't come from my Cuban background. It comes from the faith that was given to me at a very young age to discover God and what he means in my life. So without those two things, which is the faith of my grandmother and the strength of my mother, I couldn't go forward. What I do want businesses to think about is exactly what you said. What is your end result and how does it look like? And can you place yourself in that path? A lot of the times you take a couple of steps and you stop, and you take a couple of steps and you stop because you feel inadequate. But that's here. So you got to get out of here first. And then you're going to see a huge different picture than sometimes becomes the one that gets dark. But you need the light.
Well, I love that. There's a lot of groundswell and reinforcement of something that you've worked on, that you've thought about. It's very clear to me that you've thought about this quite a bit and integrated it into your life. And I truly want to close where we started. Super Bowl 59. I'd like to thank Mia back there too, who made this possible. The Historic New Orleans Collection, of course, the C-Suite Network and the Hero Club. But I'm going to apply what I just prescribed in terms of imagine it, visualize it, do something about it. I've been a sports fanatic since I was so small. I'm 53 years old. I've watched, Super Bowl 59. I probably watched my first Super Bowl at age 4 or 5. And I thought, when I understood the term bucket list, it was a bucket list to be at a Super Bowl. It was like my top dream, not to be president or an astronaut, but to go to a Super Bowl. And so about 10 years ago, I said, well, what are you going to do about it? So I started traveling to the cities where the Super Bowls were going to be. And then I had an experience with somebody that we know, Mayra Rios, and she got a procurement contract with Super Bowl 50 in Houston, Texas. So it's been 9 years. Wow. But I'm going to shoot everybody here who follows me a video from that moment where she was the exclusive portable toilets provider at Super Bowl 50 in Houston, Texas.
We love Mayra. She's been here speaking for our Women's Business Symposium.
That's right. So see the circle of trust. So I started going to the cities, and then I became involved like I am tonight. We'll be there at the Inca Cares, just a special event here. It's the Salute to Hispanics in Sports and Entertainment Awards reception at the House of Blues, a tradition. And they themselves, 12 years ago, Liz and Randy Berman became, a supplier for this Super Bowl environment. And now it's become a tradition. And tonight I'm going to submit a special reflection, a moment of silence for the tragedy that happened here around the Sugar Bowl. And I was actually supposed to be here during that time frame. And then, so I'm like, I getting to know the Super Bowl culture. Mm-hmm. I'm starting to budget for it. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when I'm going to be there. Mm-hmm. And so now the fact that I'm here entrenched in it, I've been to the last two, and I'll be there at the game on Sunday, this is a dream manifested. Okay. But now it's like, how do you bring it back full circle and make sure that small businesses feel a part of it? Because small businesses should be a part of every major event, every major infrastructure project, every major economic contributor. Small business is big business. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next month. Thank you for coming into this living room of Super Bowl 59 live in New Orleans. And it is fun. It is complicated. It's energetic, but this is the place to be. It is the world's #1 event. And it was an honor to be with you, Mayra and Teresa. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.